Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to make some usable art using our mixed media art journaling techniques and supplies. Easy peasy holiday cards. So first up, we are going to make a St. Patrick's Day card. And I am using a napkin called Good Luck. It has these beautiful clovers, the red and the green. The colors are just great, and I am going to use this as the primary background. And when I said easy, I meant easy, but that doesn't mean it doesn't look great. And I'm going to pair it with this napkin called Lucky Frog. All the napkins used in this video can come from NINNYSNAPKINS.com. There's a link in the description box as well as a coupon code. So I'm going to be working on a 6x6 card base from the Crafter's Workshop, and I'm cutting the napkin down approximately 5 inches by 5 inches. And I'm going to put a white border around. Now the border on the napkin, I'm thinking I could put that at the top. The reds, the colors of these two napkins work well. So flip through your napkins and see which ones you can pair up together to make holiday cards or just greeting cards for any occasion. Now, because I don't want the shamrocks and the clover to show through, I'm going to glue this Lucky Frog onto some copy paper. I'm using gel fluid matte medium to do that. And I'm going to glue down 2 because in all likelihood I'll make another card. That's what's so wonderful about napkins. You have all the supplies to make multiples, so that just speeds along the process. I'm putting a coat of the fluid matte medium underneath and on top, and I'm using a soft brush. You don't want a brush that is caked on or has got gunk in it, because that will rub the napkin and rip it. So there I'm showing that it's 5 by 5, and that's giving this nice border around. And then I'm going to glue the frog here. I let it completely dry before I cut it out, and that's really important. Now I could put the border down here. I don't want this part showing, it just looks a little odd, so I'm just going to mark where it is, and I'm going to cut that part off. I'm going to peel off the 2 excess plies like you have to do with all napkins. I've made a little envelope to put the card base in so that I don't get it dirty. I am not a neat crafter. And a coat of gel, a fluid matte medium, and I'm centering the napkin that I'm using as a background on here. And I'm giving it a coat of the matte medium on top as well. Now there's no sense to let this dry. I'm putting some gel medium here, and I'm going to glue my other napkin focal image to it. Because it's on copy paper and thicker, I've switched to gel medium here. But you can use fluid medium for the whole thing. I've gone over the edge. I like how that looks. Now, recently I cleaned my studio and organized it, and I found some products and supplies that I haven't been using. My pit markers are one of the use it and lose it, so I grabbed a green one, and I'm just making a little bit of a border there to outline my background. The smaller or thinner pit markers are the same. You can use them in the same way. If you want to learn more, or you want me to do a video showing how to use the pit markers in mixed media and art journaling, leave me a comment below. I'm edging it here and just rubbing the ink. Now it's ink in these pit markers, so for a brief period of time, especially on a non-porous surface that has gel medium on it or gesso, you can move it, but once it dries, it is permanent. So I am just using the pit marker to tweak the color of my focal image and to do shading. So I'm putting a little bit on and rubbing it with my finger. Periodically, I'm wiping off my finger. Now these pit markers I've had for about 6 years and they still work well. So that's a sign of a good quality product that doesn't dry up, doesn't get, damaged in any way as it sits. Here I'm using the black pit marker to shade just a little bit. What I like about the pit markers is they're very mobile. You can take them with you. I'm adding some black dots on here to make it a little bit more interesting border. Again, my goal is to use the pit markers, and once you have them in your hand, once you start using them, ideas will come for more uses. And that's the idea behind my Use It or Lose It cards, which, by the way, is a free digital download at NINNYSNAPKINS.com. I'll link the video where I show how I'm using them to help me use things that are in my stash. I'm just edging now with a little bit of black. I want a little bit more definition around the card. I love how these two napkins work together. And I'm marking off my pit markers. This is the second time I've used them since I've rediscovered them in my stash. Now I had that border, and I decided that I'm just going to put the border on the inside of the card with the sentiment, Happy St. Patrick's Day. And to glue this down, I'm just simply using some fluid matte medium. This card, from beginning to end, took no more than 15 minutes, and that's including drying time. I love the bright colors of this card. I grab my Secura glaze pen and I'm just doing some dashes around the outside of the card. Again, just having fun. If you don't like this detail, you can leave it out. Now I've made a card out of this. This could be on a 6x6 mixed media board or wood panel that you can hang or display during March. I think I might do one for myself. Very much the same. And I have the supplies for it because you always get several images per napkin. So if you find something you like, you can make more of them. So this cute napkin is called Bad Hair Bunny. And I've cut it out and I'm going to use my fine liner brush, excuse me, to get off that pink. And I'm going to show you 2 ways to use this napkin to make Easter cards. But for this one, I don't want the pink, the colored background. I wanted to see if I could, use this bunny, which I love, but somehow get rid of that pink border, the halo that's around it. This napkin is called Aquarelle Rainbow, and it was a piece that I had left over, and I liked the colors, the bright colors. They just reminded me of spring and Easter. And it was sitting on my table, so I thought I'd use it up. So for the other one, I am going to just use the napkin pretty much as it is. I love that hot pink with the black dots and the white bunny. When you have it perfectly, why look for more? Every card, every mixed media piece doesn't have to have all the layers. I'm getting a piece of saran wrap because once I put the matte medium on underneath, I'm going to use the saran wrap on top to smooth and get rid of any of the wrinkles. I'm careful not to get any matte medium on the top at this point so I don't tear the napkin. I don't want any holes on it. I want this to be as smooth as possible. Now on the other card, I am giving it a coat of gesso because I am going to be adding or doing something in the background here. I'm going to do a little bit more work. So I'm giving that a dry, then I glue down this strip, this rainbow acrylic napkin, and I'm not sure why I didn't put it on the edge. I should have. It kind of looks funny. So if I was doing this again, I would definitely go right to the edge. I'm just using the saran wrap to smooth it, and once it's smooth, give it a coat of fluid matte medium or clear gesso to turn it into a non-porous surface. So no matter what you do with it. Now when I put the rabbit on there, I didn't like the hard edge that this was causing. So I grabbed some gesso and I'm tapping to just soften that edge and make it less visible. And then I'm gluing the bunny down. Coat of matte medium underneath and on top. And then I decided I wanted to colorize the rest of the background. So I'm just taking a brush with white gesso and light blue permanent and just kind of splodging it on. I don't want it one tone. I want variations. I want it to look like there's texture. Then I put saran wrap on it to get that crinkled look. Again, adding some very fine detail. Now I grabbed a fine line brush and some white paint that I've thinned, and I'm just adding back the hairs of the rabbit. And then I decide I want to make this rabbit a little bit whiter. It got a little dark in some spots and I want it to stand out a little more. So I'm taking some gesso and putting that on, and then going back to the fine line brush and making the hairs go past into what my background is now. And as I started doing this, I did get better as I progressed. Still not happy with this, so add a little bit more gesso, a little bit more color of the light blue permanent. And then with this one I wanted to extend the hairs a little bit. And when you look at the close-ups at the end, you'll notice that this bear, or this rabbit, sorry, the fur is much better done, but that comes with practice. This is a 5x7 card base, and I believe it's just not a non-expensive one. It's not mixed media board. I just wanted to colorize the bow tie, kind of tie it in with the purple that was in that other napkin. Adding a little pink to the nose and the ears. Same thing here. And then I decided to grab my dot stamp, a good basic stamp if you're looking for something to add to your stash, and just adding those dots to the background. And this just made it so much better in my mind. That little bit of detail, it kind of reflects the circles that were in the napkin. In my mind, just finished it off. Now I got this stencil from Ninny's Napkins. It was in the latest subscription box, and I thought I would just stencil with white acrylic paint a tower of Easter eggs. Would you have done this, or would you have left it as it was? I think I'll be using that stencil for a different card, maybe down the road. I'm just edging the card with my shading technique. So if you buy a couple napkins, Ninny's Napkins, you buy them in pairs, you would have 4 or 8 rabbits, and you can make 8 identical cards or 8 cards with different variations. Adding some white stitching to the edge. And this stencil had the word Happy Easter on it, so instead of printing off a sentiment, I just stenciled. On this one I used white, and on the other one I used black. I love the bright colors of that napkin. I masked off the parts of the stencil. Excuse me. And I thought I was done, but then I decided I'm going to use sparkling glitter glaze from Polyvine. This I also got from Ninny's Napkins. This gives a beautiful shimmer. It goes on cloudy, dries clear, and there are sparkles. And the best part is they're not free to get in everything. So if you like adding sparkle to things, but don't like having sparkles everywhere, glitter everywhere, this may be the answer. And it's good for interior and exterior. Here are the close-ups of the cards. I hope you make some holiday cards with your napkins. Until next time, go get creative.